Welcome to our channel, where we share real-life stories of struggle, recovery, and redemption. Today, we're going to explore a powerful story that hits close to home for many. The tale of a skilled software engineer who fell into the grips of drug addiction but fought his way back to recovery. It's a journey filled with pain, perseverance, and hope, proving that even in the darkest of times, there is a way out. If you or someone you know is battling addiction, professional help can make a huge difference. Don't hesitate to call 888-240-0646 to speak to a rehab support counselor today. Let's dive into this incredible story. Our story centers on a talented software engineer, whom we'll call Chris. Chris was a prodigy in the tech world. From a young age, he had a knack for problem solving and coding, often staying up late to work on side projects that pushed the boundaries of what he could achieve.
After excelling in computer science at a top-tier university, I landed my dream job at a fast-growing tech startup. I was living what many would call the ideal life. I had financial success, the respect of my peers, and a seemingly boundless career ahead of me.
The tech world admired his work ethic and dedication, and he quickly rose to prominence within his company. But behind the scenes, there was another story. A story of mounting pressure, stress, and the internal burden that often accompanies high-performance careers. The constant demands for innovation, deadlines, and the need to stay ahead of the competition began to take a toll on Chris. He turned to a few drinks after work to unwind, but soon, that wasn't enough to take the edge off. It wasn't long before Chris was introduced to stimulants. At first, it was just to stay awake during late-night coding sessions or to make deadlines on time.
Hey Chris, you should try Adderall. It's a prescription drug that can boost your focus and energy. The promise is simple, more productivity, fewer distractions, and better work-life balance.
At first, the results were astonishing. Chris found himself writing code faster and more efficiently than ever before. His mind was laser-focused, and he could work for hours on end without feeling fatigued. It seemed like the perfect solution to keep up with the high demands of his career.
But the positive effects didn't last. Over time, I needed more of the drug to achieve the same level of productivity. What started as an occasional pill to get through a tough deadline slowly evolved into daily use.
Soon, he began mixing stimulants with other substances, like opioids and alcohol, to balance the highs and lows. Chris's reliance on drugs grew into a full-blown addiction, and it wasn't long before his personal and professional life began to spiral out of control. As Chris's addiction worsened, the once promising software engineer began to unravel. He started missing deadlines, his work performance suffered, and his interactions with colleagues became strained. People around him noticed the change. He was irritable, disconnected, and constantly fatigued.
But addiction doesn't just affect work. It crept into every aspect of my life. My relationships with friends and family deteriorated, and my mental health declined rapidly. Anxiety and depression became constant companions, and I found myself using drugs not just to enhance my performance but to numb the emotional pain.
Chris isolated himself, pushing away those who cared about him. Despite the mounting evidence that his life was falling apart, he refused to acknowledge the severity of his addiction. Like many in his position, he thought he could handle it on his own, that he could quit whenever he wanted. But addiction is a powerful and relentless force, and soon Chris was on the verge of losing everything he had worked so hard to build.
Hitting rock bottom. My breaking point came one evening after a particularly rough week. I had stayed up for 3 consecutive nights, fueled by a cocktail of stimulants and painkillers, trying to finish a major project. As my body started to give out, I experienced a severe panic attack that left me gasping for air and convinced I was having a heart attack. Terrified, I called 911 and was rushed to the hospital.
Doctors informed Chris that he had overdosed on a dangerous combination of drugs, and if he hadn't gotten medical attention in time, the outcome could have been fatal. Lying in that hospital bed, Chris finally realized he couldn't continue living this way. He had 2 choices: keep going down this destructive path or fight for his life.
With the support of our family, Chris decided to enter a rehabilitation program. It was the hardest decision he had ever made, but it was also the beginning of his recovery journey.
Entering rehab was a humbling experience for me. The first few weeks were the toughest, withdrawal symptoms, therapy sessions, and confronting the emotional pain I had long tried to bury. But with time, I began to understand that my addiction was more than just a chemical dependency. It was tied to deeper issues like perfectionism, self-doubt, and the unrelenting pressure to succeed in my career.
In rehab, Chris learned healthier ways to cope with stress and anxiety. He worked with counselors who specialized in addiction recovery for high-stress professions like his. Group therapy allowed him to connect with others going through similar struggles, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone.
Through months of hard work and dedication, Chris reclaimed control over his life. He reconnected with his family and friends and slowly returned to his career, this time with a healthier perspective on work-life balance.
Today, I am a changed man. I'm still a talented software engineer, but my relationship with work and life has transformed. I no longer rely on substances to fuel my performance. Instead, I focus on maintaining a balanced life, setting boundaries, and prioritizing my mental health.
Chris has become an advocate for mental health and addiction recovery, especially within the tech industry. He speaks openly about his struggles in hopes of helping others who might be silently dealing with similar issues. His story is a testament to the fact that no matter how deep into addiction someone may fall, there is always a path to recovery.
If you or someone you know is struggling with drug addiction, remember, you're not alone. Professional help is available and recovery is possible. Call 888-240-0646 today to speak to a rehab support counselor who can guide you through the process of finding the right treatment plan.
Chris's story is one of resilience, courage, and hope. Addiction doesn't discriminate, and it can affect anyone, no matter how successful or skilled they are. But recovery is always within reach, as long as you're willing to ask for help and take that first step. If you found this video inspiring, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from hearing this message. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories of personal transformation and hope. And remember, if you or a loved one needs support, call 888-240-0646. Help is just a phone call away.